Through the trials and tribulations of life, it's hard as someone with trauma and other mental health diagnoses, unknown if it's nature or nurture. It's often difficult to gauge when the upset is just the right amount or if it's even merited. So people ask me a lot of times, why do you have faith? Everything that has happened to you, everything that goes on. And I have faith because when I left it up to the understanding of man, let man be a liar and let God be the truth, all I got was pills and pills and pills that felt like punishment and prison sentences. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the bondage. And I'm not saying that, if you take medications, because God meets us where we're at. But for me, and that's another thing, faith is very particular. Because I'm a spiritual Christian. I'm not your typical Christian. There are certain times when I will use, as per Jungian psychology, tarot. And I don't use it to tell people how to live their lives or dump their boyfriend or they're going to, get money. But I'm a spiritual Christian. God is at the top of my totem pole. And I've met so many people who incorporate other things that I just won't incorporate into my spirituality because I feel it grieves the spirit. And that's perfectly fine, but they follow the structure of religion. They have churches and they have money and they follow the protocol that was designated by someone who decided to call their spirituality Catholicism, Buddhism, Judaism, Islam. But my relationship to God is very personal. And if the way that you communicate with Spirit, if this resonates with you, then hello and welcome. Because I believe that everything, because God is the Alpha and the Omega, the energy's flowing now. God is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the beginning and the end. And we can't say that He is our everything if we don't acknowledge that He is everything. But what is the one thing that He gives us choice to see? Because He says, I am everything, I am love, I am good, right? So, He gives us the choice to see things by choosing our perspective. That's the only choice we truly have in life. Why? Because I could be a really great person, and if I feel like people can come and get me and attack me and hurt me, then a crazy person who's looking to go out and I won't say crazy because I've had that lately, but say someone on like a psychotic binge, okay? We'll say it that way. Someone on a psychotic binge is out feeling really paranoid, really schizophrenic. They think that everybody's out to get them too, but they have, perhaps ASPD, so they're okay with the violence, They're okay with choosing violence. Some people choose it with words, other people choose it with their hands and with weapons, Other people, we choose food, We choose buying things, we choose consumption as our weapon. And the enemy that we are trying to eliminate is ourselves and the intrusive thoughts in our mind. If I buy the thing that everybody else has, and that's the thing that's going to make me happy, because everybody else is going to accept me now. If I have the type of partner that everybody else wants me to have, well, keep up with the Joneses and I'm happy. But the beauty about being a borderline is that you learn to be so judged that should you begin to heal, and you heal with faith, you give grace to those who have trespassed upon you, knowing that you too were a trespasser upon their peace. Whatever constructed their peace, you all had interpersonal issues because both parties trespassed upon the other. Energetically, it makes sense. Return to sender. The law of karma, the law of three. As we say in the hood, don't start shit, won't be shit. Because fuck around and find out, But the reality is that if we start to look at life through the eyes of Dharma, what does it mean to have Dharma? Dharma is when you've paid your suffering, your sentencing, and vamos caminando. Okay. Gracias. But they're so polite here in the country. But yeah, it's just that I forgot what I was saying. You know what? If we changed it, because I feel like when we embrace faith, that's God saying, get in the car. I'm going to help you out. Because as borderlines, a lot of times we feel helpless. Those of us with mental health afflictions, those of us with disabilities, those of us with addictions, those of us, and I say those of us, whether that is my situation now or in the past or in the future, because I am you and you are me and we are all He. We're all made in God's image, which is love. So when times get dark, search for the light. Sometimes it feels like it's really far off in the distance. But I see that truck down this road often, and there's a whole lot of other ones. And should something happen to me, because, I don't like saying it. And I saw a sermon by David Diga Hernandez, who's someone that I follow, and I appreciate his outlook. And his perspective adds to mine. And the thing is that when I would try to follow the way that he preached it and interpreted it, I felt really, really choked my throat chakras, because there was ways that I needed to speak and exist that helped me with my mission, which was from the depths of hell where God rescued me out of. I understood those depths, which maybe folks like David Diga Hernandez might not, or they might not want to go back there anymore, and that's honorable, that's respectable. But sometimes, God's got to send in a decoy. So all of any tarot that I do is always talking about my relationship with God, but it's in a format that these folks are choosing for that to resonate with their energy. Because that's the importance. In our choice, we choose our perspective. And when I learned that, my life got better. The things that did not serve me anymore started to leave me. And I was someone who used to follow tarot readers, and if the story was there and I liked it, I read it. But then I did another experiment. I followed positive, optimistic, you're beautiful, you're amazing. And whether anyone believes in this or not, it served like affirmations of positivity that I was not doing for myself. So God's like, okay, I need this for you today, because I've been asking God, how can I believe more in myself? How can I love myself more? And come on, guys. Come on. And so I'd been seeing things, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know if I want to do manifestations and affirmations, and I don't know if God's okay with that. But then there's a scripture that God will meet us where we're at. And I was like, you know what? I did find my faith when I delved deep into tarot. My grandma used to read it, and she was an amazing and beautiful woman, and I respected her very much. But she also, kind of gave me a death sentence when she told me that, my life was going to be full of tears. And I loved my grandma, and I believed in her so much that I ended up manifesting that. Energy is moving again. You guys will see cars pass when the energy starts to flow. But, so yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, so when my grandmother told me, hey, you know, you're going to have, and you could say, no, well, she was an energy reader just like you, and she prophesied, you know, if you want to call her a prophet, part of the 144,000. But the reality is that God is everything, God is everywhere. That was a choice. You know, I was strong in my faith, but I also love my grandmother very much. Sometimes people who we love will lead us to sin unknowingly. And for the people who dropped away out of my life while I was at my sinniest, you know, I appreciate you for dropping out of my life, for not witnessing me spiral further, for allowing me to understand that I couldn't have the beautiful things that I wanted in my life with the perspective that I was choosing to navigate life and my problems through. So now here I am walking on a country road, when back in the day I would have bought a bunch of food, snacks, I would have drank, I might have engaged in sexual activities with, you know, the guy I was seeing at that time, or girl, because I used to be bisexual, lesbian, and I'm never the type of faith-based person that's ever going to say, hey, that's wrong, because again, people look at me and say, she's wrong. So who am I to judge somebody else? But I'm not going to not tell my story either for the sake of someone else's journey. Because my journey shouldn't affect anybody but me. Shouldn't matter to anyone but me, who I love. And the same goes for them, because love is love. In the end, we are created in God's image. From whence we came, we must return. That is the point of life. To become love. Loving. To be a living testimony, not really by what we say, because who really believes what we say? I mean, they do, but they don't, you know? Someone doesn't love themselves enough. They'll take everything that everybody says as truth, and they'll start to adopt it. And so when you start to feel worried, you start to feel paranoid, people are going to come for me. The reality is that you're just doubting yourself because you don't yet understand why God loves you. And once you understand the depths of why and how he has loved you, regardless if you want to call him Jehovah, Jesus, Amen Ra, Buddha, you know, whoever you want to call him, but call him. Let God and let go. I wish you many blessings. I wish you abundance. I wish that you may have love for yourself and our Creator enough so that you spend your days in introspection, that we stop the consumption, because this is a beautiful world, this is a beautiful earth that God made for us. And like that favorite thing that you have, that your favorite person gave you, you want to take care of it. Plant a tree. Plant some flowers. Talk with those flowers. Walk with the flowers. Have them teach you how to give grace. 13:44 on the clock when I said that. God bless y'all.